Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Is your life fine? Is it fine? Or is it fantastic? Is your life fantastic? When people say, how's it going? Do you say, fantastic? Or do you say, it's fine? Or when your wife answers you and she says, oh, that's fine. Is it really fine? I don't think it's really fine. I think you better find a way to go from fine to fantastic. And that's what we're going to help with today. I'm very excited about today's show. First and foremost, I have to throw it out there that congratulations to Referrals Podcast, Top 100 Podcast. We're mentioned with the same breath as Joe Rogan and Dave Ramsey and Jocko and Entrepreneurs on Fire with John Lee Dumas. Are you kidding me? And Referrals Podcast. This isn't for all entrepreneurs on fire. This isn't for Dave Ramsey radio show fanatics and so on and so forth. But what's interesting is a lot of you are Dave Ramsey fanatics and you're listening to Referrals Podcast. A lot of you are entrepreneurs and you're on fire because you're listening to Referrals Podcast. And I just want to say thank you. And I have to give a big shout out to Sherry Mayer and Augur Rask and the team that helps put Referrals Podcast together. All their hard work. They've kind of set it a private goal to hit top 100. We're top 100 in marketing. We're top 100 overall. It's just one of those where they've worked their butts off. And the bottom line is without you, it would have never happened. Your ratings, your reviews, your downloads, you look forward to it every week. And we look forward to it every week. And we appreciate you. Thank you so much for helping us do that. And by the way, while you're here, you should just check out joingengen.com. You might as well join the generosity generation if you're listening to the Referrals Podcast. Joingengen.com is join, joingengen.com. And I have a quick shout out from Janie. She says, love this product and appreciate the tribe of trust. I have learned so much from participating in the Gen group and March Magic. We just finished up a March Magic challenge last month that went phenomenal. A lot of people are seeing April business from March's Magic. I love the podcast. It is a must listen for any salesperson. Thank you, Janie. I appreciate the shout out, and all you listeners and all you viewers on YouTube. I just really, really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to not only a friend, not only a colleague, but one of the foremost thought leaders. If you were looking at thought leaders around the world, this would be kind of like a Rising Stars episode. I really believe that. And today we have a gentleman by the name of Shaun Rawls. Rawls spent 25 years working in real estate, ultimately building Atlanta's #1 residential real estate firm. Listen, it's Atlanta, one of the biggest cities in the country, and he built the #1 residential real estate firm, the Rawls Group. And having met many of his professional goals, Rawls made a deliberate choice to shift his attention out of the daily operations of his firm and into new ways he could add even more value to people, to others, to the world. The Rawls Group of Keller Williams had over 2,000 agents producing more than $4 billion in annual sales, and it consistently ranks among the best performing companies in the Keller Williams system. And in addition to his Atlanta-based real estate empire that he had, Shaun also traveled around the country as a national speaker, trainer, and consultant for Keller Williams, and also outside the Keller Williams system, and was a co-regional owner in Keller Williams in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and so on and so forth. His resume includes having been recognized by Real Trends as one of the top 40 real estate brokers in America, and one of the top 200 most powerful people in real estate by Stefan Swanepoel's Digest. Shaun is married to his wife. They live in Atlanta, Georgia, and together their blended family is comprised of 5 beautiful children: Noble, Steele, Jacob, Andrew, and Sarah. Shaun enjoys spending time with his family at the beach, riding his motorcycle, playing tennis, traveling, being active, and living life to the fullest. Shaun has an industrial management degree from the Georgia Institute of Technology. He is a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. And on top of all that, he is now a best-selling author of this book right here, which I have, and if you're going to have to check it out on YouTube for those of you listening to this, but it is the Effortless book with the subtitle of 18 F Words to Reframe and Repurpose Your Life. And we are not just fine. We are fantastic. And we are so blessed and so happy to have you here. Shaun Rawls, welcome to the Referrals Podcast.
Hey, buddy, that's a nice intro. I appreciate all the thought. You could have winged it though. You know me as good as the words on that page. So
I'm telling you,
that.
I'm telling you.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, that's an interesting story. Is one of the reasons that I'm in Atlanta today is because of Shaun Rawls. We could live anywhere in the world, and we narrowed it down to a few cities, and the opportunities that were in Atlanta, and to be totally forthright, the size of the airport made Atlanta a really good destination. And Shaun and I and Jerry talked about, like, what does it look like in the real estate world? And he created a position, essentially, president of productivity in the region. And I even got some time as a team leader and realized that one of the things in life that I don't want to be is a team leader. No offense to all the team leaders who do a great job out there. But I'm telling you, there's knowing someone and then there's working with someone day to day. You know what I mean?
True.
I mean,
That's
we can
true.
put on all these fake fronts in this Facebook life, but you're the real deal, man. That's what I love about you is you're the real deal. And you know, you like I said, I believe that on the thought leaders list, you're a rising star.
Well, I appreciate it. And that means a lot because you're the real deal too. And we both know that we have I think our behavior profile is identical, if I remember correctly, when we took all those assessments.
So I took that with Mark Willis, right?
Yeah.
So I took that a long time ago. And when I finished, he was like, I only know of one other person in the entire Keller Williams system. We're talking 100,000 people that this is their profile. And I was like, oh my God, one other person, right? I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, how does he even remember that? You know? And he goes, you know, do you know Shaun Rawls? And it's like, I knew he knew that. I mean, it's like, I think the way Mark and I met were you, right? But it was just like, do you know Shaun Rawls? And I go, yeah, I know Shaun Rawls. And he goes, look at this. And he put the little graph, and it's like our graphs literally
exactly the same.
It was literally on top of each other. And he goes, makes you guys a pretty good fit for each other. So I go,
it makes us a pretty good fit. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the rest is history. We're friends today still.
That's right.
Working together, playing together.
That's right. And you know, lending an ear for each other and helping as friends. And what's interesting is I was mentioning before the show, we were just kind of taking some notes and going over some stuff. Well, to my right is a football notes, if you will. And I got back into football. I coached football for years and just got back into it in the Atlanta area. And Shaun is a big reason why. He actually connected me to someone who connected me to the coach of a couple of different schools. And eventually I picked one of those schools. And I'm so glad I did. It was the right choice, and it's been fantastic. But it was interesting is on the notes, I have my principal words, my 5 words that we're going to be as an offense, and it is fast, fearless, flawless, physical, and fun. And,
I love it.
And I have to be honest with you, I came up with it over here, and then I was like, those are all F words. Physical, we can finagle physical to make it an F word, right? But it's like, dude, I'm gonna dedicate that to you. You helped me get the job, and like,
I love it.
And those words are exactly what I want my offense to be. So,
I can't wait to come watch you coach and win. I'm going to be there.
Well, I will tell you, the team I'm taking over was 1-8 last year, and we're not going to be 1-8. I
know you're
I
not.
just know it.
I know you're not.
Figure it out. So, all right, back to the thing at hand. I have to ask on the effortless, right? I mean, this is a uniquely titled book. It's not like you didn't title it Fierce or Fantastic or F, colon, exclamation, cent sign, you like some of the books that are out there right now.
Sure.
And so first of all, like, where did the effortless thought come from? And I'm genuinely curious. I don't know this story.
Oh, it's a good story. It might be a good story. It might not be. I really was pondering. I had a tough time sleeping one night, and something compelled me to think about why people dislike change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so change was kind of on my brain. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the reason people don't like change is because it's typically not their idea.
Yeah.
For example, you and I might say, "Hey guys, we're going to do something different. We're going to change the way we do things around here a little bit. It's going to make us more efficient, more productive, or whatever." And we're excited about it because it's our idea, right? So
Right.
Change for us was good because we're the architects of it. But as soon as we pass that baton, most people are going, "Oh God." And so nobody really likes change because it's rarely their idea.
That's right.
So the change that most people end up with in their life is a result of them saying, "F it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it. F it. I give up. F it. I give in." We've all been there. We've all had times where it's just, you can't beat them, join them. And it's just F it. And I thought, what a terrible way to change, right?
Yeah.
What a terrible way. So I said, what if F it wasn't a bad word, right? So like the other books you mentioned, those are all about the F word as we know it. This is the anti-F word, right?
Yeah.
So it's about replacing that with 18 other words that are still F words, but are words that will help you get to change offensively and proactively, not defensively and unenthusiastically. So it's that's really the story. It was just kind of pondering change and why do people hate change and how does change happen for most people?
Well, I have to. I mean, did you know that when you were kind of doing the effort that it had any kind of sound alike with effortless?
Yes,
at all?
very much so. So
Yeah.
it's kind of got a double meaning, right? Obviously, if you're living a life and building a life that I call effortless, it should feel effortless in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
should have
Like floating.
that similar meaning, yeah. And then it's also saying effort less and living better, right? So it's kind of got those two meanings for me. But yeah, effortless and effortless. I'm very aware of the correlation with that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So let's do this. I want to make this different than you're doing a ton of podcasts. You're like the most famous guy ever. We're actually doing a special edition of the Referrals podcast right now. Different time, different place, different everything. And
Right.
it's like, we got to accommodate, right? And so what I want to do on this is I want to dig deeper on one of the
Right.
chapters. And it was one of my favorite chapters out of the book.
Which
love
one
the
was
book.
it?
Yeah, it's go from fine to fantastic, right?
I love that one.
It's not even close. I mean, I loved all of them, but this one really, because I just wrote, I said something about 10 years ago that kind of got some controversy with it. I said it's easier to be excellent than it is to be mediocre. And a lot of people that are excellent were all over me. They're saying, no, you're taking all my hard work out of it. You're saying it's easier, but it is easier to be excellent than it is to be mediocre. When you are excellent, things are easier, right? You're attracted opportunities. You're attracted great people. You're attracted excellence. That's what you attract when you be excellent. And I'm not saying that, it's not hard to be excellent. I'm just saying that once you are excellent, what you're attracted, and what's really hard? Being mediocre.
But
right?
I don't think people really realize how hard it is living in fine or living in me. I don't think people realize it. And I think your message is on energy alone, being excellent is far easier than being mediocre. Yeah. Just think of the energy that's around you, that you've got, the purpose you have, the path you have, the vision you have. It's all up and looking north, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you attract the energy. I love what you said about energy, because when you're fantastic, you tend to attract fantastic people who don't suck your energy. what they actually do is they like me and you, right? I mean, it's like when we talk, we're more energetic at the end. Sometimes when you talk to people, you're less energetic at the end because all the energy came out of you, you know?
That's right. That's right.
And what I love that because it's kind of like it's easier to be fantastic than it is to be fine. You know?
It's certainly more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So why is fine not desirable?
Well, if anybody read Good to Great, right, by Jim Collins,
Yep.
It's the same thing. He presents it in a business sense of it, but when you really think about it, it's all applicable. So the problem with fine is, look, the human being is the most adaptable species in the planet, right? And that may be a great thing. The problem is we don't usually use that power for good. We usually adapt to circumstances that are less than ideal for us. We adapt to relationships that are less than great. We adapt to jobs and positions that are really not what we want to bide our time. And the next thing you know, we've spent 20 years on it. We adapt to things. And when we say the word adapt, I think most people feel like that's what that means. You have to adapt to something less than desirable. But that's not what adapt means. Adapt means you can be flexible and whatever. Why can't we adapt to things that are better than ideal for us? If we're fine, we're not in pain. We're kind of sleepwalking, and we don't really. There's no pain, and if there's no pain, there's no priority to change it. So for me, fine is dangerous. I'd rather things be good or bad or great or bad because bad causes change. Fine continues, and it doesn't. There's nothing that rocks the boat enough to risk change or to risk effort or to risk energy or to risk money. And everybody weighs everything against fine, and they determine the risk to be too great for the reward, and they don't go forward.
Yeah.
So that's why fine is a problem.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's amazing. I just literally posted in Join Gen today, the Generosity Generation group. I pointed out that, like, I looked at the March Magic stats, and we had 500 and some do it. We had 77 who completed the 30 tasks, right? I mean, so, whatever that percentage is, and it's one of those where who are these people? And what's interesting is who really has success with our Referco programs are those who are in the top 10% already, or the ones who broke the piggy bank to get in. They're the ones that spent, their last little bit of money to do this. And they're the ones that kick butt with it.
They're not going to waste it.
So isn't it interesting that, if you talk about the top 10% earners, of maybe the bottom 10% earners at this point, and I will tell you that some of the bottom 10% have already had $10,000 months this month because of what they did then. But it's one of those where, it's that 80% that may be fine, and it's interesting that the 80% were the ones who didn't do it. They just didn't commit to it. They did like 2 and then they were out. Some of them paid for it and didn't even sign in.
Well, what's interesting? Have you ever had people, people come to you, I'm sure, a lot for advice, right? Say, hey, Michael, I want to run something by you. I want to get your thoughts on something. And it sounds like people really want advice. The problem is what you don't know is that they've asked 12 other people for advice too, but they haven't gotten the answers they want. And most people are looking for something to validate their own position. And as soon as you go, yeah, I totally agree with you, they go, that's perfect. That's what I was looking for. I appreciate the advice. That's great. That's the advice I needed, was basically back me up and sing back up. Everybody else's advice was don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. That wasn't the right advice. The advice I was looking for was what I wanted. And I think people do the same thing probably with your Gen March Magic, where they wanted to validate what they were doing. And if it was going to be too much effort to really make change or do the things that you know that's good for them, you know how that works. Yeah, it's probably 100%. A very similar concept.
Yeah, I've come to this theory that we should all be asking questions, but we need to look at the questions we're asking. Because a lot of times we're either asking questions of avoidance or we're asking questions of mastery. And it's like, how do we know if we're asking questions of avoidance or questions of mastery? And the answer is, have you done it yet? All right. If you haven't done it yet, then you're just asking questions of avoidance. Go do it. at some level, some degree. And then how do you know if you're asking questions of mastery? Well, have you done it? And then you're asking, how can I do it even better?
And I bet if you peel back the onion on that, Michael, you're going to find that the people who've got their ego in check are into mastery. Mm-hmm. And the people that don't, where the ego runs rampant on and really wants to protect them from embarrassment or failure and all the things that the ego does, those are the people that are in avoidance.
Powerful. That's so true. So we've talked about good is the enemy of great. You believe that good is the enemy of great?
I do, for sure. I do. Because it doesn't prompt action.
Yeah. So in chapter 4, you talk about going from fine to fantastic, and you tell us that there's 3 steps in the process. And I want you to know that I loved all 3. And I'm not sure if they're the newest concepts in the world, but the way you put them together is very unique, and I love it. What are the 3 steps to go from fine to fantastic?
Now, are you talking about my exercise where I do the 3?
Yeah, like land some planes and the stop doing list, and then a mind map, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. I mean, in my opinion, most people make to-do lists, right? So to-do lists are, I don't know that to-do lists are really good for people, but they're a good primer of the pump, in my opinion. So I think a to-do list, just the idea of putting a bunch of stuff down right off the top of your head that is front and center, and it's what I call landing planes, because we all have these ideas that are just circling around in our brain at any given time. But if we take them and we put them on paper, we just land them and we get them out of the atmosphere and quit circling around. So for me, landing planes is a term I've used for a long time. And I just think it's important to take what you think you know, put it down on paper, and put it down in totality as much as you can. Mm-hmm. Because those are things that you need to do to go from fine to fantastic. So if I was walking you through it, I would say, hey, look, let's land some planes. Let's take, if you know your life, let's talk about where you are, what's fine in your life, where do you want to change, and what are the things let's pick a place that's really important to move from fine to fantastic. And now give me a list of things that you believe need to happen in order for you to do that. Just don't think about it. Just that's in your brain that and you'll throw them down. Yeah, just a brain dump. Don't worry about it. We're not going to do anything. You're not going to be held accountable. Half of them may be crap. We don't need it. Don't worry about it. Just land them, and then we can sort through it and figure out what diamonds are in the rough, right? Mm-hmm. So land them. And now, before we even do anything with that, let's do another brain dump. And let's say, okay, let's assume that before we can add anything to do in our life, let's create a list of things that let's assume our plate is full, right? That we're as productive as we can be. We don't have any more. Listen, I can't possibly do one more thing. You're probably right. So let's make another list, and let's make a list of the things that you need to stop doing to make room for the things that we're going to come up with that you really need to focus on doing. So let's make a list of all the things that you think are bad habits that are in the way, relationships, activities, time wasters, just bad habits you've carried with you your whole life. We just write them down. And let's just look at what they are, because we can't get rid of all of them, ideally. I mean, we would, but probably we're just going to have to pick and choose some stuff once we look at the list and see what we're dealing with. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing, because you can really see, wow, I really do have a lot of meat on the bone here. I can stop doing that. I can stop doing that. I can stop doing that. And so you land some more planes. And now we've got something we've got some molding clay in front of us that we can actually start playing with and shaping into what I call an effortless life. But to do that, we have to go into the third thing, which is what I call the mind map. And it's a consulting method I've used forever. And I think you can solve any problem, personal or professional, no matter level of success or not. This is how I taught people to write business plans, if you recall, in our business. Yep. Because my thing was, if you write a business plan, if I can't read it from 10 feet across the room, it's probably not going to happen. Yeah. So I want you to be able to draw it out and put it up on your wall. And when I walk by your office, if I can see your business plan in bubbles on your wall, we've got a shot at actually making something happen, because it's going to be simple enough, it's going to be big enough, and it's going to be clear enough. Mm-hmm. So the third thing would be the mind map exercise that's in there. So let's go through that, right? Yeah, let's go through it. I because it's so powerful. This is I've probably seen you do more mind maps than anybody
just because I've been working with you and I've seen you teach so many times. And it's, what's interesting is that for a lot of us, it's not the first solution that comes to mind. Like when we do think of a business plan, what do we do? Oh, okay. Right. I've got to find a piece of paper. I've got to open up a Word document. I've got to go get a sample off of, or I need to go look at 4,000 business plans and then pick and choose the best out of there. Or, what does a mega millionaire, business plan look like? And then you just give up or you write it out and you type it and it's a bunch of gibberish and then it stays on your computer and you never look at it again. Right. Yeah. And the mind map is something that lives and breathes and is up on the wall, And
what's funny is I was teaching a class once and I was doing this. This is probably 15, 16 years ago or so. And somebody came up and asked me when I learned to draw mind maps. I had never even heard of the term. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just doing it how I saw it.
Yeah.
And that's how I was entered. And then I went and did a bunch of research on mind maps. I was like, holy moly, there's like this is cool.
Yeah.
So I learned some more, but I was really rough at it, but I didn't know what I was doing, which is interesting.
What I love about it, I think it actually looks like your brain, right? I mean, I think it's how your brain works. And rather than
if you look at when you write stuff down, you write like, okay, I want to do this. And then I go, first thing I need to do, second thing I need to do, third thing, and you list them out. And when you list them out, it looks like they're in order of importance, but you just listed them out in that order. It doesn't mean they're in importance. So
that's right.
It could be a false sense of weight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too.
In the traditional sense of listing things.
Yeah. And you start listing things and you're like, oh, this is a good thing, but it doesn't fit here. So where do I put it? Well, when you have a mind map, you put it right there. On a document, you're like, do I open another document? Do I hit enter, and start another thing? So I think that's, so let's go from fine to fantastic with kind of the mind map approach, right?
Let's do it.
So
let's play around. Let me ask you, what's an area of your life you want to move from fine to fantastic?
So let's do health, right?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I should do referrals, but let's
say health.
Yeah.
All right. So is health just a general, I want to go from fine to fantastic in health, or is there a specific thing in health that you want to shoot for?
I would like functional fitness. Is that right?
Yeah, whatever. As long as it means something to you.
I don't need to have a six pack. I'm looking for functional fitness. I want to be flexible. I want to be strong. I want to be slender, I guess. Slenderer.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you.
Kind of thing.
I'm with you. All right, so let's look at it and say, okay, so let's assume we've gone through that list of landing planes, right? You've got, okay, I know some activities that I could do, list them out.
And stop doing.
I know some things I need to stop doing, and I'll tackle that. But let's look at the to-do stuff and say, okay, so if you look at your to-do list of the things that would help you be functionally fit,
mm-hmm.
and you had to put $100,000 bet on the most important three that would help you go from fine to fantastic. Don't forget about the rest.
Yeah.
What are three goals or three things that you could focus on off your list that you would bet big money would help you become functionally fit if you hit them?
So I just want you to know, I've never done this before, and it's already an aha. So I mean, because you have to narrow it down to three. How many things can you do for diet, fitness,
a gazillion,
holistic, health, right? So it's weightlifting.
Okay.
Keto, eating a keto diet just seems to be the best for my body.
Great.
And stretching. I need to be, flexibility is probably the worst of my functional fitness list, right? So
I want you to write something down. We're not going to talk about it, but I want you to write down the word true stretch. True stretch.
And I want you to get
true stretch cage, true stretching cage. And I want you to look it up on the internet after the show.
Okay.
I got one of these recently, and I'll talk to you about it later. But I don't want to forget.
Thanks. You're already referring.
That'll change your life.
You're already connecting and helping, right?
It'll change your life.
All right.
So we've got weightlifting, keto, and stretching.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got a bubble in the center, right? That says functionally fit. You draw a circle right in the middle of your page, functionally fit.
Okay.
Below that circle, you're going to draw another circle.
Okay.
And it's going to be weightlifting.
Okay.
And off to the right of your main circle in the middle of your page, you're going to draw one that says keto.
Yep.
And then off to the left of that circle, you're going to draw another circle that says stretch.
Okay, I just want you to know, just for future reference, I have weightlifting up, weightlifting right here, up and left. I've got keto up and right, and I've got stretching at the bottom. Just so
perfect.
You know. So
great.
Okay.
So now we're going to tackle each one of those, and we're going to say, okay, let's go to weightlifting. And now you've got big money on this, right? You got $100,000 bet that says that if I do these 3 things, I will become functionally fit. So let's make sure we tie that bet down and we don't lose that money. So now your goal is to come up with 3 to 5, ideally 5 activities, actual activities that you know that if you did these 5 activities, you would check off the box of weightlifting for becoming functionally fit for you. Mm-hmm. So you've got to come up with whatever that means to you. And
go to the gym.
And you could have a stop doing item on that activity list, by the way. Mm-hmm. So you're going to list those 5 things out.
Okay.
And you might have 3, you might have 10. It really doesn't. There's no rule to it. The point is, are you really clear on what you can do to make that happen?
Yes. Okay. So a lifting schedule, go to the
Oh.
gym, right? You know, I have a gym membership, right?
Yeah,
Essentially, I can lift it at the school, right?
Yep.
So I really have no excuses not to lift weights.
And so then you're going to do the same thing with keto, and then you're going to do the same thing with stretching. And what's going to happen is you're going to have an effortless plan in front of you that's going to take your fitness from fine to fantastic, or functionally fit fantastic, right?
Just to keep the F theme through everything. Yeah.
So you're going to have a quick thing, and you could write that. You could do that on a poster board and stick it in anywhere you're going to look at it and check it out. Now, if this was a business plan, by the way, and I was doing this on my business, and I'm looking at the 3 things and the 1 goal and the activities. Let's say I've got a team of people. Now, when you look at those activities, you're going to look at it and say, okay, now you're going to take a highlighter and you're going to say, okay, what things on this list of activities can I do this week? Mm-hmm. And highlight them in yellow, let's say. And then if there's anything on there that can be done this month, but probably not in a week, you can highlight that in a different color. Mm-hmm. And if there's something else that needs to be done in the next 3 months, and then anything else, we get another highlighter that might be longer. Because some things may take a long time, right?
That's right.
So, but by the same token, if this were a business plan, I could actually highlight and say, okay, well, these are all the things we need to do. And it's pretty simple because Maher, you're going to do the things in green. Rawls, you're going to do the things in yellow. Sally, you're going to do the things in pink. And we all only have a couple of things to really focus on and do. And if we all do it, we kill it.
That's right. And that always bothered me when we worked together, because you'd always give me the yellow.
Yeah,
and the color yellow makes me sad.
Yeah.
Straight out of the Geico commercial, right? All right. So that was awesome. And I have to tell you, we have to, what's interesting is another F word is the frame word. And the way you framed the initial question for the mind map is as important as the mind map. You said if you were going to make $100,000 bet on which of the 3 factors would make the biggest difference, that instantly made me choose, right? It instantly made me, figure out for myself what those 3 things were.
And it's kind of a relief, isn't it? Because you go through and you go, wow, we got all these things now. How do I? And you just go, you don't have to do them all, dude. You don't have to do them. Just pick the most important ones, and the rest take care of itself.
And let me tell you, that's something that's so interesting on this is that, like, I've been doing the elliptical every day this year.
I've been tracking you, by the way. I know you missed one day recently, and I was, but I loved your accountability to it, and it was awesome.
That was an awful day. It was an awful day, but I'm human. It happens. And so here's the thing, right? Didn't make the list. It didn't make the list.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's been a daily reminder of health, right? Get your health in order. I'm definitely more fit. I don't get out of breath walking upstairs. I don't get out of breath at baseball practice. I can hang out with the kids a little, faster and so on and so forth. But it didn't make the list, which is interesting, So I need to get back to the 3 priorities, right? The 3 bigger things. But luckily, now that I've been doing the elliptical, I think that going to the weight room is going to maybe see results faster because the first part isn't just aerobic.
That's right.
I can get into the anaerobic and kick some butt with that. So that was interesting. Aha for me was that one of the daily habits that I chose to do isn't really on the list. So,
but here's what's super cool. You're in control of you. Mm-hmm. And maybe you go back and you look at this and go, that should be on there.
Yeah.
Maybe it goes in there some way. Maybe it takes the place of something else, or maybe it just gets added and you have 4 things instead of 3. I don't know.
That's right.
But you're in charge of you. And the cool thing is, are you thinking about it? And are you thinking about it in a way that excites you, doesn't intimidate you?
Here's the other thing is that maybe it does stay on there, because a lot of times when you're thinking about the $100,000 bet, it's also like, what are you not doing? Right. So those are the 3 changes I would have to make that I'm not doing. It's kind of like a professional football player. Like, you don't have to tell him to work out. No. It's not he just he's not going to tell you that one of his goals is to start lifting weights. Why? Because he already lifts weights. Like with elliptical, it's like, I don't need to put it on the goal because I already do elliptical.
Right.
So there's that kind of interesting play, mind play with it. And I think the other thing is what areas of our life should we evaluate? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What do we need to look at? Like, what do we need to do a mind map for? Is there?
Yeah. What do we need to do a mind map for? That's everybody's call. I mean, because look, where you're living with fine in your life may not be where I'm living with fine.
That's right.
And where somebody else is there. And that's the cool thing about this is not about somebody telling you what needs to be fantastic in your life or what's not. This is right? So this is just a way for you to get more in touch with yourself and do something, because frankly, most of the people that are listening to your podcast are people who, like you and me, are very servant oriented. Mm-hmm. And we want to serve other people. And the danger of that, if you don't have clarity for yourself, is you will serve everybody else to the detriment of yourself and your family. Mm-hmm. Everybody else comes first, and then you come last. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be careful not to do that. And when you say what is it what else do we need to do? I'll tell you this. We've already talked about this, but in a general way earlier. But we talked about energy, right? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that's not in this book that I struggled with whether I should put it in or not, I thought, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to add, this is going to be a value add.
You're going to give us some bonus material?
Value add, bonus material. So and this is something I taught all around the country, but it's so important. And when people see it, it really changes the game. And so if you had a piece of paper and you've got a piece of paper in front of you, you just drew a quadrant, just made the paper a whole quadrant, like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. And the top left corner, just draw an addition sign. Top right, draw a subtraction sign. Bottom left, draw a multiplication sign. Bottom right, draw a division sign. And we're going to fill this out. So here it is. In the top left, this is a category. These are people and tasks that you do and people that you interact with that add to the quality of your life or business and give you energy. Okay. Top left, these are tasks that you do, people that you're in relationship with that take away your energy and do not add to the quality of your life or business. Bottom left, multiplication sign. These are the people and tasks that aren't just good for you, but are great. Mm-hmm. They don't just add to the quality of your life, they multiply. People and tasks. Things
these
that
are
you
the
do
fantastic
that you love.
People.
Yeah. These are the things you love to do. These are the people you love to see. These are the people you love to talk about. These are the things when you do it, it's your greatest source of profit in your business with the least amount of effort because it's so natural and it's in your wheelhouse. Bottom right, these are not the tasks and people that take energy away. These are the people and tasks that suck the life out of you.
Toxic is the first
word I
thought of. Toxic.
And the problem
is toxic.
The problem is we could be related to some of these people.
Yeah.
Right. In some cases, some people have some weird relationships. Right. But here's what I do. If you fill that out, I guarantee you, when you put Bob in a division sign category, the next time you see Bob, it's a game changer. because now you're busted and you're like I knew he was not great and I knew I didn't like him that much, but now I know where I've categorized him. And for me to spend any more time with him or whatever the task is, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot do it.
Paperwork is an example for me. Right?
Me too, buddy.
Paperwork
Same behavior profile.
Toxic.
Get it?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Toxic.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. But I'll tell you, so for me, if you do this, this is a primer even to the lands and planes exercise for me, because if you go through this and now we focus on the plus and multiplication side, particularly the multiplication side, we can actually create a truly fantastic, effortless, fantastic business plan for ourselves in our business or whatever. There's no problem you can't solve. These two exercises are bulletproof.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
I love it. I mean, it's you make a great life figuring out what multiplies you, right? Find the people who really multiply you. Find the things that really juice you up, the fantastic things, that you love doing. Like the March Magic juiced me up. Like that was so fun. It was short. It was things that people could do daily. Everybody could do it, and it was just fun seeing the light bulbs go on. So that was interesting that would be a multiplier type of effect, and we were really successful with it. It was profitable. Yes. So that's fantastic, literally. So, wow. And so what are you reading right now?
Oh my gosh. You know what I'm reading? I'm reading a book of, I'm reading two things, actually. I'm reading three things and it's not Sky Mall magazine. Okay, here's the story. So Michael and I are on a plane. We're on a plane back when you could fly without a mask, and back when Delta had Sky Mall magazine.
That's
and
right.
So I'm sitting in my chair and I'm reading Sky Mall magazine, looking at all the crazy products, and then from across the aisle, this guy kicks my chair in the plane and says, "Rawls, what are you reading
right now?" So what are you reading right now?
What are you reading right now? And I was like. And I held up the magazine. I said, "I'm reading Sky Mall magazine." And he just busted out laughing because that was not the context of the question. It was like, really, what are you reading right now? Not what are you looking at on the airplane?
Yeah. And it was so funny because, like, if anybody knew what the Sky Mall magazine was, it was me. Right. I've seen every page 1,000 times. And it was just like, oh my God, that's so not what you would be reading. I mean, it was the totally opposite of, I was waiting for some piece by, Tech Sing Mall. It's like I was waiting for some monkish answer and I got Sky Mall. I'm waiting for the smartest answer in the history of the world and I got Sky Mall. And then we laughed about it and looked through the Sky Mall and one of the things, it's like, whoever gets this? And it was a big blow up pillow. So a couple of birthdays ago, Sherry and I just had to do it. We got Shaun the blow-up travel pillow that he's probably never opened.
It's the picture of the 70s porn star in a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh yeah, sleeping on it. Yeah, it was so awful.
And I think you were sale number 2.
Yeah.
I was like,
and the porn star was the first, right? She bought it herself. So, oh my God, it was. So all right. So what are you really reading?
Well, I'll tell you, for people that are into business, I'm reading this, and I'm reading Jeff Bezos's Invent and Wander. And if you have not read it, I'm going to tell you why you should. The first half of this book is every shareholder letter. He writes a shareholder letter in April every year to his shareholders. Every shareholder letter he's written and sent to his shareholders since 1996 or 7, every year. And so you get to read the progression of, and you're just in awe. But what's really great about it is not the stats of the company, it's his mindset comes shining through. And he's unapologetic and saying, look, even in the early days when most people were trying to get as many people to agree with him as possible, he's doing the opposite. And he's saying, look, I want you to know, I'm going to spend as much money as I can, trying as many things as I can to figure out what works and what will change this world. And that means I'm going to waste a lot of money. We're going to spend a lot of money on things that are not going to work out, that are going to be bad for the bottom line. But the few home runs we do hit are going to carry us. And if that makes you uncomfortable as an investor, do not invest in my company. I mean, he is so clear and consistent on that. There are so many lessons of leadership in that book for anybody listening that wants to lead a team and be clear about business principles. It's fascinating. On a personal note, I am rereading but I'm listening to it for the first time, but it's a book I've read probably 3 times, and it's called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. It's great. It's one of the great mindset, understanding yourself and how to deal with the issues that we all have as humans. And it's very Eckhart Tolle, if you like Eckhart Tolle, but he comes across it in a very, the audiobook is just so crystal clear and easy to absorb. I highly recommend it. Highly.
Wow. That's awesome. And I could see how, like, I know you're an avid reader, you're a voracious reader, and that comes out in what I'm reading right now, which is Effortless, right? So I'm going to tell people that they can either go read 2,000 books and try to catch up to you, or they can read this book and it's like reading 3,000 of the greatest books ever written. Right.
Michael, I'm telling you, I am very excited about the book, truthfully, because I really, really, really believe it's going to help a lot of people move the needle on their life in the right direction. And I've everything I've talked about, I've learned personally, I've done personally, I've taught personally, I've consulted personally, and there's truly 30 years of experience in that book. And it's just the wisdom of looking back and looking within and saying, look, if you want to live a better life, here's the manual. Here's the only manual I think you need to have to do it. And I truly, truly believe that. I had a publicist in New York City tell me after reading it, she said, you know, what's interesting about you is this is a very, very much a self-improvement, life enhancement book, but it's written by a guy with a massive business success background. She's like, those two things never intersect. You always get information from somebody who may or may not have really achieved a lot in their life, but they've learned how to sell it. And it's kind of airy-fairy, and you're not really sure where the foundation is. She said, but you have such a way with words, and it's easy to read. It's easy to understand. It makes a big impact because there's the validity of what you're saying really comes through in your experience and on the page. And I really loved that assessment because she connected those dots and I think she's dead on.
I think it's even more than that. I really do. I think the beauty of this book is first of all, you've done the research, you've done the reading, you're a voracious learner, but it didn't stop there. There are people who do the research and then write a book about it, like Napoleon Hill, right? He basically did the research and wrote the book about it. But you even go above Napoleon Hill in that not only did you learn about it, you then taught it, right? So you taught it. So you had to encapsulate it in a different way. You had to learn it even better to teach it. And there's those that have written books who have researched it and then they've taught it, right? These university, Adam Grant and Dr. Cialdini or Robert Cialdini out at Arizona State University, who wrote Influence and things like that. And those are great books, right? But then there's this third layer that makes you as an author even more powerful, which is you've also had this enormously successful business and life to go with it. You know, that's the rare part is that, you know, it's all three of those things put into to one place and put into one book. You know, you've learned it, you've taught it, and you've lived it. And you've succeeded at the highest levels. And it's a book that people should devour and read. How do they get it? How do we get it?
They go to Amazon or they go to Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble seems to be going to be carrying some copies in store if that's important.
And the hard copy, right?
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, I'm a hard copy guy.
It is so pretty. Can you see it back there? I'm not going to get up and grab it. It turned out beautiful. I mean, I got so used to looking at the copy, you and I, the advanced marketing copy. Yeah. But it did go from good to great. I mean, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's an experience. I mean, there's something about a hard copy that just, and I'm going to encourage everybody that's listening to this is go to your local Barnes & Noble Look for Effortless. If it's there, buy it. If it's not, ask your store to order it for you.
Right.
And then get that book, and don't give this one away. Read it, keep it, put it on your shelf, live it. I mean, just experience this book. And then if you want to buy it for your brokerage or buy it for your company, then you can go the paperback or the hardback or whatever it may be, but you can go a different route. But for the one you're going to own and cherish and keep forever, make sure you get the hardback, the hard copy. It's a beautiful book, not just outside, but also what you get inside. It's
F-it-less. If you're going to Amazon, F-it-less. And if you pull it up, it comes right up, and you can order it. And it'll be at your house on May 4th. And if anybody likes it and wants to have me come speak to their organization or whatnot, I really, really can't wait to do some in-person presentations on this material, because I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, talk about a bonus. That's a bonus right there. And if you are confused by the Effortless part, just do a search by his name, Shaun Rawls, because this is the first of many books, I have a feeling. So you're gonna want to do Shaun Rawls. You're gonna see Shaun Rawls, and you're gonna want to follow him as an author on Amazon, because you never know what's coming down the pike. So
you never know.
Shaun, this was so awesome. I knew that it was going to be good. I wasn't even worried about it. I literally was just like, let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. And it was even a game changer and a difference maker for me as I mind mapped and corrected some things and actually opened my eyes to some of the things that I need to be doing. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, man. Listen, it's always fun to hang with you. And unfortunately, last year we've been hanging virtually, but I can't wait to meet somewhere and have a beer or something and sit down face to face. But it's truly, I'm thrilled to be a part of your business program, but I'm more grateful to be your friend. And I appreciate you. Thanks for the kudos. Thanks for helping me with get this message out there. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope it makes a huge difference to the people that are Michael Maher tribe advocates.
Well, I'll tell you what, they need to read it, period. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, thank you for listening to this episode of the Referrals Podcast. If you have not joined GenGen, JoinGen.com, joinGenGen.com is the generosity generation. It is our tribe of trust. It is a tribe of trustworthy people who will help you with whatever you want. In fact, just by becoming a member of the generosity generation, you become more valuable, because when you meet someone who has a challenge or a goal and you can't necessarily help them yourself directly, bring it to the group. We'll help you help that person overcome their obstacle, conquer their challenge, or achieve their goal. And in many cases, huge love connections, huge business connections have been made simply by joining GenGen. Join GenGen.com. We'll see you over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast.